Dendrology is the study of wooded plants. Knowing how to identify these plants makes it very important to our arboriculture industry. We can identify these wooded plants in many ways, such as fruits, nuts, leaves, and even the barks are all factors in identifying these plants. There are other many ways, which we will get into during the duration of this slideshow. This is a map of the Ohio forest, and they're prevalent to Ohio, which is important for students to know which are identifying trees, which also gives visual display and higher order questions, which I will walk you through in the next couple slides. Knowing where these trees are located in relation to their forest can also help identify them with their soil types, and students can use context clues and interpreting maps and graphs to help identify these, such as their location with their water and other sources. Mnemonic devices are always a good thing to remember. Something that helps me remember opposite branching trees is madbug. Maple, ash, dogwood, and buckeye are all opposite branching trees in Ohio. This also plays in with the student standards for identifying and classifying trees in Ohio. If you're not sure on how to identify your oak trees, I also have a mnemonic device for that as well. If a red oak tree tips, leaves are going to be pointed, just remember, if they're tipped, just remember, like a red man's arrows, they're tipped just like that. And a white oak, rounded like a white man's bullets. Right here is a dichotomous key, and they're used for a number of things. Most used in my world for identifying trees, which helps my future students for learning their constructivist ways, and again, visual displays, which I will walk you through on how to use one in the next previous slides. Most of us are familiar with this particular woody plant, but if not, like I promised, we are going to identify and classify this plant using a dichotomous key. I promise, it's going to be easy. Take a good look and gather any information that you can about it, and then we'll help with the dichotomous key questions as we go along. Most of you are probably familiar with this particular woody plant, but if not, like I promised, we are going to identify and classify this plant using a dichotomous key. So take in as many details as you can, and we will go along and see if you can identify this woody plant. But the first step is, well, identifying if it is either a tree or a shrub. A tree is defined as a woody plant having one well-defined stem, a more or less defined form crowned. It is usually divided in three general parts: a crown, a stem, and a root system. A shrub, on the other hand, has multiple stems and short in height. I think we all know the difference between these. But if not, well, we can get in more into these different tree descriptions now. Conifers, the first type of tree that we have needle-like, linear, or scale-like leaves. They're often referred to as softwoods or evergreens. And they have cones such as pines and spruces or cedars that are often in this group. The next one that we have are hardwoods or deciduous trees, and they have seeds and they don't have cones. A lot of trees in this group are maples, hickories, poplars, and they're often referred to as hardwoods. Many of you probably know this, and they turn colors in the fall. Leaf is a trademark of the tree along with the fruit, and it is commonly the most physical characteristic in a tree identification. There are three very physical things that we see in a tree. It's the alternate, opposite, and world. More importantly, in how the leaves are arranged is how they are shaped. That can very well determine on how we identify them. Whether they are any of these shapes can determine. Not very many trees have these characteristics, so that is a very dead giveaway on how they are. And it also determines on any of these. Not very many trees have these palmately, pinnately things, which we will get into. Some of these are a dead giveaway. With all of these things going together, the students get a lot of vocab, and they have anticipatory activities in science, because when they're out in the field, they actually can see these leaves and twigs and trees, and they can see how they are branched. We have these pinnately compounded branches and leaves on a thing, on a branch. There are so many activities and things that you can do with dendrology for students. There's visual displays, vocab, identifying and classifying higher order questions, interpreting maps, graphs. A big thing that we do in agri-science education are constructivist views, that the students have a lot of hands-on learning. If you followed the whole dichotomous key, we got all the clues and found that it is a buckeye tree. It's the only broadleaf palmately compound with opposite branching. So I hope that you were able to identify and classify everything, and that you found out that it was a buckeye leaf.